Stop for a moment. Breathe. When was the last time you truly thought about yourself? Not your job, not what others expect from you, just you. The truth is harsh and perhaps a little uncomfortable. You've spent too long living for everything and everyone except yourself. While the world screams for your attention, you run, you exhaust yourself, and somewhere along the way you lose your bearings. But tell me, until when? How much longer will you keep postponing your own life? We live in an era where the noise of the world is deafening. We are relentlessly bombarded with information, with expectations, and with constant insidious distractions. They whisper sweet nothings, making us believe that being always available, always busy, is the very definition of success. But the truth, my friend, is starkly different. If you don't make yourself a priority, you will inevitably become a mere shadow in your own life's unfolding drama. In this exploration, I'm going to show you how to radically refocus on what truly matters yourself. You'll learn how to shield yourself from the relentless chaos, how to cultivate profound focus by working in silence, and how to build yourself strong and resilient from within, using the timeless teachings of Stoicism as your unwavering guide. Because let's face it, if you don't take control of your life, someone else most certainly will. So tell me, will you wake up now, or will you continue sleeping through the life that others have meticulously designed for you? Let's begin. Let me tell you the story of my friend Gabriel. No one really noticed him. He simply went unnoticed. At the office, he was invariably the first to arrive and the last to leave. Whenever anyone needed help, he was always unfailingly there. One favor, then another. An extra task here, a last-minute meeting there. Gabriel, can you stay a little longer? Of course. Gabriel, can you cover for me? No problem? His boss appreciated him, yes. His co-workers thought he was a good guy. And without even realizing it, he had subtly transformed into just another resource, like a coffee machine. Useful, available, but utterly invisible. His personal life, sadly, wasn't much different. When his family called, he dropped everything. When his friends needed him, he rearranged his plans. Always for others. Never, it seemed, for himself. And so the years passed. Not one, not two. More than 10 years without ever uttering the word no. But the bill, as it always does, eventually came due, because when you live your entire life for everyone else, you inevitably lose yourself. One day, in the middle of yet another endless meeting, he felt a sharp stabbing pain in his chest, a silent warning, an urgent plea from his body. At first, he ignored it. After all, there were always more urgent things to do, weren't there? But the pain returned, and then again with increasing insistence. Until one afternoon, sitting at his desk, his vision blurred and everything went black. He woke up in a hospital bed. The diagnosis: stress, anxiety, extreme exhaustion. The doctor was blunt, almost brutal. If you keep this up, your body will make you pay for what your mind is ignoring. And that's when Gabriel finally understood. He had spent his entire life existing for others, but never truly for himself. When he left the hospital, something profound shifted within him. It wasn't instant. It wasn't magical, but it was undeniably real. He looked at himself in the mirror, and for the first time in years, he asked the question he had been so desperately avoiding. What if instead of being available for everyone else, I was available for myself? That very night, while mindlessly browsed the internet, he stumbled upon a video that inexplicably caught his attention. It was about Stoicism. He had never even heard of it before. He clicked play. In the video, they mentioned a quote from Marcus Aurelius: "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Gabriel went silent. He rewound the video and listened to the quote again, letting the words sink deep into his being. And he felt with an almost uncanny certainty that those words were meant specifically for him. Because right there in that simple, profound sentence was the answer he had been avoiding for years. His life was indeed what his thoughts had made of it. He had mistakenly believed he had to be useful to others, that his value depended on what he gave, not on who he was. But now he understood his life didn't have to revolve around others' expectations. From that day on, Gabriel cautiously began applying Stoic principles. At first, it was incredibly hard. When he said no for the first time, his boss frowned. When he stopped replying to work messages after hours, his co-workers criticized him. When he began to put himself first, some inevitably called him selfish. But for the very first time in his life, he didn't care, because he had realized something that would change his life forever. If you don't make yourself a priority, you'll be everyone's option, except your own. Today, Gabriel's life is dramatically different. He still works, yes, but at his own pace. He still helps others, but crucially, without neglecting himself. He made himself a priority, and in the process, he discovered something truly interesting. When you're good with yourself, when you are grounded in your own being, you can give more without destroying yourself in the process. This story isn't just about Gabriel. It's the story of thousands, perhaps millions of people who have forgotten something fundamental. Their life belongs to them. So now I ask you directly, how many times have you said yes when every fiber of your being wanted to scream no? How many times have you relentlessly put yourself second out of a paralyzing fear of disappointing others? If this story resonates deeply with you, stay with me, because in this discussion, we're going to break that self-sacrificing mindset. Today, you'll learn how to powerfully make yourself a priority, how to shield yourself from the relentless chaos of external demands, and how to unequivocally take control of your own life. Because, my friend, no one else will do it for you. Before we continue, if you're finding value in this content, consider subscribing. And tell us in the comments, do you usually put yourself first, or do you always end up pushing your needs aside, or simply type Stoic at heart? We want to grow together with you. The first strategy is reclaiming your mind. Imagine waking up in the morning, and before your brain even fully starts up, you're already swiping through your phone. Notifications, messages, useless news feeds, short videos you won't even remember watching 5 minutes later. 5 minutes pass, then 10, and before you know it, you've wasted half an hour of your precious day watching cat memes and celebrity gossip. And it's not just in the morning. Throughout the day, every time you have a free second, you instinctively pull out your phone. When you eat, when you walk, even when you go to the bathroom, you can't seem to be alone with yourself for a single moment. My friend, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but your mind has been hijacked. Your attention is like a pie, and the whole world wants a piece. Social media platforms, the news cycles, relentless ads, cunning algorithms. Everyone is sitting at the table with a knife and fork ready to take their share. They don't care if there's nothing left for you. They don't want you focused. They don't want you diligently working on your goals. They don't want you building the life you truly want. They just want you to keep serving up more and more slices until there's nothing left of you. They want you distracted, consuming, hooked. Epictetus, the wise Stoic, said it centuries ago, if someone tried to hand over your body to a stranger, you'd be furious. Yet you hand over your mind to anyone who passes by and allow them to manipulate it. And the worst part, you don't even realize it, because you mistakenly think, it's not that bad, I'm in control. But tell me, when was the last time you went a full day without checking your phone? When was the last time you sat down to work on something important without feeling the urge to check a notification every 2 minutes? No, of course not. The problem isn't that you lack control. The problem is that they have control over you. And while your attention is scattered in 1,000 different directions, your life stays exactly the same. But don't worry, it's not entirely your fault. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman explains that dopamine, a powerful neurotransmitter, often works against us. Every notification, every short video, every piece of junk information you consume activates the same brain circuits as an addiction. And like any addiction, it strips you of control. The core problem is that your brain gets used to instant gratification. The faster you get a reward, the harder it becomes to focus on tasks that genuinely require sustained effort. Have you ever tried reading, working, or learning something new, only to find yourself checking your phone without even realizing it? That's how they steal your control. It's not that you lack discipline, it's that you've been conditioned, trained not to be able to sustain focus on what truly matters. So do you want tangible results in your life? Do you want to focus on yourself? Then you absolutely have to take back your mind. Relax. It sounds worse than it actually is. First, set up formidable barriers. Consider a dopamine detox. I'm not suggesting you throw your phone out the window, but you need to make it work for you, not against you. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Use apps that block social media at certain times of the day. Don't say there aren't options. There are free apps that can do the work for you. If you don't use them, it's because deep down, you don't truly want to change. Second, activate airplane mode mentally. Don't touch your phone when you wake up or before you go to sleep. The first and last hour of your day should belong exclusively to you, not to an algorithm. Use that precious time for something that actually brings you closer to your goals. Train, write plan, learn. And third, take back control with a simple, powerful Stoic question. Every time you go to open an app, pause and ask yourself, is this serving me or is it distracting me? If the answer is, it's distracting me, then you already know what to do. Remember, either you control yourself or you will be controlled. Because at the end of the day, focus is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who just keep dreaming. If you keep letting the world hijack your mind, you'll stay trapped in the life you have now. But if you bravely take back control, if you truly master your attention, then you'll finally start working on the only thing that genuinely matters, yourself. The second strategy involves recognizing that you're wasting your time without realizing it. Tell me the truth, my friend. How many times have you said, I don't have time? In the past week, how many times have you convinced yourself that your life is simply too busy to work out, to read, to learn something new, or to finally start that project you've been dreaming about? Now tell me something else. How many times have you opened TikTok just for 5 minutes and ended up an hour later watching dancing dog videos? How many times have you opened YouTube with no real purpose and ended up watching a documentary about a lost tribe that has absolutely nothing to do with what you were supposed to be doing? No, of course not. The problem isn't that you don't have time. The problem is that you're giving it away without even realizing it. Marcus Aurelius made it clear, time is like a river. If you let it flow, without meaning, you won't be able to get it back. And he wasn't just saying that. Despite being the emperor of Rome with all the immense responsibilities that came with it, he still found time to write, reflect, and strengthen his mind. He didn't waste a single second on things that didn't bring genuine value to his life. To him, every day was an opportunity for self-improvement because he understood a profound truth that many struggled to accept: time doesn't stop, it doesn't wait, and it doesn't come back. And here comes the harsh reality: our society is lost. We are not like Marcus Aurelius. A study from the University of California analyzed how workers manage their time and found something alarming. On average, people waste 3 hours a day on unnecessary distractions. 3 whole hours. Where does all that time go? Not on important tasks, of course not. Instead, it's wasted on compulsively checking phones, jumping between browser tabs, or getting caught up in pointless conversations. If you add it up, that's over 1,000 hours a year completely wasted. What a profound loss. Think about this. You could have learned an entire language, read dozens of books, or built a thriving business from scratch. But no, most people don't even realize that time is slipping through their fingers, and when they look back, they wonder why their life is still exactly the same. If you want to achieve something significant in life, you need to take control of your time once and for all and focus only on yourself. Now imagine you decide to learn web design because you know that mastering this skill will open new opportunities for you. It could allow you to work independently, and who knows, maybe even launch your own business. You start motivated, you find a great course, you enroll, and that's when things get complicated. You finish work exhausted. You get home. You think about starting the course, but you decide to rest for a bit first. You grab your phone, watch a couple of videos, get distracted, and before you know it, the night is gone. Another day without progress. This is where you need a real strategy to stop wasting time and start making the most of it. Before going to bed, write down 3 key tasks for the next day. Not a never-ending list of impossible things, just 3. For instance, watch the first lesson of the course, complete a practical exercise, and review design examples. If you complete those 3, the day was worth it. When it's time to start, avoid falling into the "I need motivation" trap. Use the 5-minute rule. Open the course and tell yourself, "I'll just do 5 minutes, and if I want to stop after that, I will." But you already know the trick. Once you start, momentum will carry you forward. To avoid distractions, apply the Stoic Pomodoro method. Work for 25 minutes without interruptions. Then take a 5-minute break. No checking your phone every 2 minutes. No, "I'll just check one message." You create a real focus block, and when you finish, you'll feel like you actually made progress. Not only did you learn something new, but you also took a real tangible step toward your future. Now tell me, how are you going to invest your time today? Write it in the comments. What are you going to focus on from now on to stop wasting time? Share it with us because we're all on the same journey and we can motivate each other. And keep watching because what comes next might fundamentally change the way you see things. If you start today, a year from now, you'll thank yourself for making this decision. But if you keep putting it off, well, a year from now, you'll still be in the same place. It's your choice. The third strategy is to let the results speak. In a small room lit only by the dim, filtered light streaming through the window, a man worked in profound silence. He spent hours observing, adjusting, meticulously perfecting every single detail of his painting. He wasn't in a rush. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. Only he truly understood the immense magnitude of what he was creating. Day after day, he applied new layers of paint with almost obsessive precision. He studied the interplay of light, the intricate anatomy of the human form, the subtle, fleeting movements of muscles in a smile. While other artists eagerly announced their new works to the world, he kept his project a carefully guarded secret. He wasn't looking for applause. He didn't care about external validation. Before it was truly time, his only unwavering priority was his work. Weeks passed, then months, then years. 4 years later, the masterpiece was finally ready. An enigmatic smile, a blurred, ethereal background, a truly revolutionary technique. Leonardo da Vinci had dedicated thousands of hours to creating his painting, the Mona Lisa. Without distractions, without boasting, without seeking premature approval. While others talked, he worked. While others sought recognition, he sought perfection. And so, in complete silence, Leonardo da Vinci created the Mona Lisa. And you, what do? Do you announce your plans before you even start, or do you work in silence? It's happened to you before, hasn't it? How many times have you enthusiastically declared a new project, a life change, a grand goal? I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to learn how to invest. And then, nothing. Months go by and everything stays exactly the same. But what if I told you it's not that you lack discipline, but that your mind actually played a trick on you? Yes, you heard that right. There's a scientific reason behind it. Every time you tell someone your plans, your brain releases dopamine. You know what that is, right? It's the same substance that activates when you actually accomplish something. In other words, by merely talking about what you will do, your mind believes you've already made progress and the motivation fades before you even take the first tangible step. That's why most people talk and talk about their goals but never truly achieve them. Their satisfaction comes from recognition, not from real concrete progress. But do you know who didn't fall into this trap, Epictetus? He himself said, "Don't boast about what you're going to do it and let it show." That's how he lived. He didn't seek external validation. He didn't announce his grand plans. He simply worked in silence and let his efforts speak for him. His unwavering focus was on action, not approval. Now, tell me, how many times has this exact scenario played out in your life? You decide that this time you're really going to get in shape. You buy new gym clothes, take a few aspirational pictures, tell all your friends, you get encouraging comments. You feel motivated. But when it's actually time to go to the gym, you don't feel like it anymore. Your brain already got its reward without doing the work. The same thing happens with any goal: learning a language, starting a business, changing habits. If you talk about it too much, you trick yourself into staying in the same comfortable, unproductive place. So are you ready to truly let the results speak for themselves? First, go into stealth mode. Don't talk about what you're going to do. Talk about what you did. Instead of announcing that you're going to write a book, write in silence and let someone see your finished manuscript one day. Instead of telling everyone you're changing your body, let them notice it without needing an explanation. Next, use internal rewards. It's perfectly normal to want motivation during the process, but find private gratifications. Celebrate internally when you complete a week of discipline, when you make significant progress on your project. The satisfaction of seeing real, tangible progress is worth far more than empty applause. And finally, do the mirror test. Before seeking any external validation, look at yourself deep into your own eyes and ask, did I actually make progress today? If the answer is yes, you don't need anyone else to know. If the answer is no, then the only thing you should do is take action, not talk. My friend, at the end of the day, there are only two paths: talking or doing. Stop telling the world your plans. Work hard. Focus on yourself. And the results will inevitably come. The fourth strategy is to surround yourself with giants. Imagine for a moment that your success in life depended 95% on the people you spend the most time with. Sounds extreme, right? Well, a study from Harvard University proved exactly that your social circle is one of the most determining factors for achieving success. And if you think about it, it's not that surprising. Picture this: if your friends only talk about how bad everything is, the drama of the week, and how unfair life is, it's only a matter of time before you become the champion of pessimism. And this isn't magic, it's science. Our brain adapts its way of thinking to what it hears most often. And if the people closest to you have never tried to step out of their comfort zone, what do you think is going to happen to you? Seneca knew this well. We become those with whom we associate. Now, imagine Seneca in ancient Rome, surrounded by people who only cared about parties, spending money recklessly, and coming up with endless excuses to avoid working on their minds. Do you think he would have become the great philosopher we know today? No, of course not. The people around us shape us for better or for worse. Motivational speaker Daniel H. Habib puts it simply: surround yourself with spiritual giants, not mental dwarfs. And no, we're not talking about physical height, but about mental greatness. Surrounding yourself with people who have vision, ambition, and the relentless drive to improve will fundamentally change your life. These are people who challenge you, who inspire you, who push you to be better. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with people who have no goals, no curiosity, and no desire to grow is like tying a rock around your neck while desperately trying to swim. Now put yourself in the situation. You've decided to improve your life. You've set clear goals and you're determined to move forward. But every time you try to change your environment subtly, or not so subtly, holds you back. You say you're starting a workout routine, and they respond with, "Don't overdo it. Life is meant to be enjoyed." You talk about a project and they say, "Don't get your hopes up. That won't work." In the end, their negativity insidiously seeps into your mind, and you start doubting yourself. But don't worry, this isn't about running away and replacing all your friends overnight. It's about becoming more aware of who influences your life and how you can start surrounding yourself with better influences. If you want to grow, you have to filter your environment. Observe who inspires you, who motivates you, who makes you think beyond the ordinary. Spend more time with those people. Don't have anyone like that around. Find them. Join communities. Attend events. Surround yourself with people who are already where you want to be. And if you can't do it in person, start by consuming their content. You also have to learn to say no. No to commitments with people who drain your energy. No to conversations that add nothing to your life. No to habits that only pull you further from your goals. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't help you grow, you're saying no to your own progress. And if right now you feel like you don't have a positive environment, start by creating a virtual circle. Surround yourself with books, podcasts, and quality content. Learn from the brightest minds in the world, even if you don't know them in person. Because if you fill your head with big ideas sooner or later, you'll start thinking big too. Think about this. If you spend time with people who go to the gym, sooner or later you'll get curious and start improving your health. If you're surrounded by entrepreneurs, you'll start learning about business without even realizing it. If you hang around people who read and educate themselves, you'll eventually absorb their knowledge. Your environment shapes your habits, and your habits shape your future. So tell me, do your friends bring you closer to the person you want to become or pull you away from it? Because if they're not lifting you up, chances are they're dragging you down. Don't wait for others to change before you start focusing on yourself. Be your own priority and build an environment that pushes you forward instead of keeping you stuck. The fifth strategy is to practice mental minimalism. Imagine your mind is a desk, a sacred space where you're supposed to work, think, and create. But now imagine that desk is utterly covered in junk stacks of irrelevant papers, old receipts, empty coffee cups, sticky notes with tasks that no longer matter. There's no space to move. You can't find anything. And worst of all, you feel overwhelmed before you even begin working. That's exactly how your mind functions when it's overloaded with useless information. Every time you consume alarmist news, scroll through social media complaints, or engage in meaningless gossip, bam! Another piece of paper lands on your mental desk. Crash. Another pile of emotional clutter taking up valuable space. Plop. A new worry lands in your mind, one that isn't even yours. And then you wonder why you can't focus on what truly matters. My friend, your head looks like a desk after a hurricane, and you haven't even realized it. The problem is that you don't even notice how much noise you're letting in. You mistakenly think that keeping up with every political scandal, every global crisis, and every social media debate makes you more informed, more aware, more intelligent. But let's be honest, does it actually help you? Or are you just filling your head with worries you can't solve while neglecting the one thing you can control, your own life? Epictetus understood this well. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The richest person isn't the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. And this doesn't just apply to material things, it applies to your mind as well. The more unnecessary desires you accumulate, the more noise you create in your head. And the more noise there is, the less space you have to focus on yourself. Picture this. You wake up in the morning and without thinking, your phone is already in your hand. You open X or Twitter and the first thing you see is a heated political argument. Then you switch to Instagram and find someone showing off their perfect life. Meanwhile, you haven't even made your bed. Next, you check the news reading about economic crises, wars, and problems that aren't even happening in your country. Without realizing it all, that negativity builds up in your mind. Anxiety, frustration, the overwhelming feeling that the world is spiraling out of control. But in reality, the only thing out of control is your focus. Because while you're drowning in unnecessary information, you're ignoring the most important thing, your own life. This is exactly what happened to Matt Davila, a content creator who realized he was spending too much time consuming news and it was stealing his peace of mind. So he decided to do something extreme, an entire year without watching the news. Nothing. No TV, no newspapers, no social media. Even his wife was forbidden from telling him any news. The result was surprising. His anxiety decreased, his focus improved, and he had more time for himself and his projects. And the most interesting part, at the end of the experiment, he realized that the truly important news always found its way to him. He didn't miss anything crucial. Do you see it now? You don't need to be hyper-connected to stay informed. So how can you start decluttering your mental desk and taking back control? First, apply the rule of the 3 filters. Before worrying about something, ask yourself these 3 questions. Does this directly affect me? Can I do something about it? Is it important in my life? If the answer to all 3 is no, let it go. Don't fill your head with things that only drain your energy without giving anything in return. Most people's worries aren't even their own. They're imposed by an overstimulated environment. Second, if you truly want to regain focus, stop consuming news all the time. You don't need to know every political scandal or every global tragedy the moment it happens. Your mind isn't designed to absorb all the misery of the world without breaking down. And if something truly important happens, trust me, you'll hear about it. Third, surround yourself with quality information. Instead of filling your mind with toxic news and irrelevant gossip, ask yourself, how can I invest this time? Maybe by reading books that actually teach you something, learning new skills, or working on personal projects. Remember, a clear mind leads to a clear life. Now tell me, how much mental clutter have you been carrying around? Because until you clean up your mind, you won't be able to focus on the one thing that truly matters, yourself. The 6th strategy is simple. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you're on the right path. Tell me the truth. When was the last time you did something that truly made you uncomfortable? And I'm not talking about switching to a new Netflix series or trying a new dish at a restaurant. I mean something that genuinely pushed you out of your comfort zone. When was the last time you spoke in public, even though your hands were shaking, or got up at 5 in the morning to work on what truly matters, or decided to face something that scares you instead of avoiding it? Because here's the thing, if you don't do things that make you uncomfortable, you will never grow. Most people think discomfort is a warning sign, like a stop sign in the middle of the road. But in reality, it's a compass pointing directly toward your growth. Every moment of doubt, every obstacle, every bit of tension is a sign that you're moving towards something greater. If you never feel that discomfort, my friend, it's not that you're on the right path. It's that you haven't even started walking. And no, you can't fool me. I know you avoid discomfort. How do I know? Because we all do at some point. We prefer what's safe, easy, and familiar. We want to improve, but without sacrifice. We want success, but without effort. We want to be stronger, but without facing resistance. Epictetus would tell you right now, Don't wish things were easier. Make yourself stronger. The Stoics understood that discomfort isn't a punishment. It's the fire that forges character. It wasn't about avoiding challenges, but facing them with the certainty that every obstacle overcome made them more resilient. Because the problem isn't that life is hard. The problem is that you're waiting for things to become easy before you take action, and that will never happen. Look at the case of David Blaine, the illusionist. When he decided to break the world record for breath holding, he wasn't a superhero. He didn't have supernatural abilities. He simply trained his body and mind to withstand 17 minutes without oxygen. 17 minutes. Now tell me that's not facing discomfort head-on. You know what he did day after day. He pushed his body to the limit. He learned to ignore the urgency of panic, to control his heart rate, to endure the unbearable. And after immense suffering, he succeeded. He wasn't born with that ability. He'd built it. And you can do the same. You know why. Because science tells us so. Neuroscientist Wendy Suzuki explains it clearly. When you face discomfort, your brain changes. New neural connections form resilient circuits, strengthen, and you become stronger and more resistant. You are literally programming yourself to be better. But if you always avoid effort, if you always choose the easiest way, you are training your mind to give up before even starting. So are you ready to start using discomfort to your advantage? Think about this every day. You have two options. Do the same as always or push yourself a little and grow. Which do you choose? Because discomfort won't come knocking on your door. You have to go out and find it. Wake up earlier. What's the worst that could happen? That you gain more time for yourself instead of rushing through the day. Finish your shower with cold water. Can you handle 10 seconds? Spoiler: yes. Read a page in another language, even if it frustrates you. And that message you've been hesitating to send it now. It doesn't matter what you choose to do. The important thing is that you stop running away from effort, because the more you face discomfort, the stronger you become. Also learn to differentiate between pain and growth. Giving up because something is difficult is not the same as stopping because something is genuinely harmful. The pain of effort is temporary, but the regret of not trying lasts forever. And finally, be grateful for discomfort. Yes, I know it's hard, but it works. When you feel uncomfortable, instead of complaining, think, "This is taking me in the right direction." Replace complaints with gratitude, because every obstacle you overcome makes you greater. Don't see discomfort as your enemy. It's the sign that you're making progress. Every time you face it, you choose yourself. Reinforce your discipline and take one more step toward the life you truly want. Now tell us in the comments, what's the last thing you did that pushed you out of your comfort zone? We want to hear your story. The seventh strategy is recognizing that not everything deserves your energy. My friend, listen closely to this story, because it might open your eyes to where you're truly investing your precious energy. There was once an old man who lived in a village and was known for his unshakable calm. No matter what happened, he never lost his composure. One day, a young man, frustrated with his own life, decided to test him. He approached him and, without warning, started insulting him. "You're a useless old man. Your words mean nothing, and people only listen to you because they have nothing better to do." He spat angrily, expecting to see the old man finally lose his temper. But the old man didn't even flinch. He simply looked at him with a slight smile and with total tranquility asked him a question. "If someone offers you a gift, but you don't accept it, who does the gift still belong to?" The young man frowned, not fully understanding the trap. "Well, to the person who offered it," he replied. The old man nodded. "Exactly, and the same goes for anger, envy, and hatred. If you don't accept them, they still belong to the one who brought them. I have more important things to put my energy into." The young man fell silent. He had never seen anything like it. He had always thought he had to respond to every provocation, defend himself, strike back. But there was the old man immune to his poison, untouched, as if nothing had happened. And here lies the key, my friend. The old man didn't allow external forces to take control of his mind. He didn't let someone else's anger become his own because he understood the same profound truth. Marcus Aurelius spoke centuries ago. If something external bothers you, it's not the thing itself that's the problem, but your interpretation of it. An insult only has power if you choose to accept it. A negative comment only affects you if you let it in. And the energy you spend fighting others is energy you could be using to build yourself. Let's be clear, how many times have you wasted time and energy on things that, if you're honest, don't add anything to your life? You argue with someone on social media over a post that isn't even yours. You get mad because your neighbor parked their car in a different spot even though it doesn't affect you at all. You let a broken elevator ruin your day because you have to take the stairs even though that extra movement might actually do you some good. And then when it's time to focus on what truly matters, you have no energy left. Imagine your attention is like a flashlight. Wherever you point it, that's where your energy goes. If you spend your day shining it on small problems, pointless arguments, and meaningless worries, you'll run out of light for what truly matters. So if you want to become your own priority, you have to start managing your energy like what it really is, a limited resource. First, apply the 30-second rule. Before reacting to something, stop, breathe, count to 30. Ask yourself if it's really worth spending your time and energy on it. If the answer is no, move on with your life. Second, practice strategic indifference. Ignoring isn't weakness, it's intelligence. Not everything deserves your response. Not everything deserves your reaction. If someone provokes you, if something irritates you, ask yourself, do I really need to engage with this? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And third, learn to let go. If something won't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes worrying about it. Seriously, stop and think about how many times you've stressed over things that days later you don't even remember. Life is too short to waste energy on the irrelevant. Now think about this. If your energy were cryptocurrency, what would you invest it in today? Because if you keep spending it on arguments, complaints, and distractions, when the time comes to focus on yourself, you'll have nothing left. The 8th strategy is to learn to be alone. Ah, my friend, being alone. Scary, isn't it? But what if I told you it's the secret used by some of the greatest minds in history? It's not complicated. It doesn't require natural talent. Yet most people can't do it. Nikola Tesla understood this perfectly. It wasn't just his intelligence or his ability to innovate. His true secret was solitude. He spent hours and hours in deep introspection, without distractions, without external noise. And it was in those moments that some of his greatest ideas were born. Tesla knew one thing for sure: the mind is sharpest and most creative in uninterrupted solitude. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you were truly alone? And I don't mean just being away from people. I mean being without distractions, without your phone in your hand, without music, without filling every second with noise. The problem is that most people don't know how to be alone. And worse, they run from it, as if being alone would awaken some dark version of themselves. As if they were Dr. Jekyll, terrified that their inner Mr. Hyde might take control. But the truth is, there's no monster inside you. There are only parts of yourself that you've been avoiding, and maybe it's time to bring them into the light. Think about it. If you don't enjoy your own company, how can you expect others to? The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Seneca was clear. Nothing is more powerful than a mind that relies on itself. What did he mean? That if you constantly need validation from others, if you can't stand silence, if you're afraid to face your own thoughts, then you're not free. You're a prisoner of distraction. And this isn't an exaggeration. A study from the University of Virginia proved it in the most brutal way possible. They gathered a group of people in a room and gave them two choices. Stay in silence completely alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes or give themselves electric shocks. The result will shock you. Most people chose to receive electric shocks rather than be alone with their own minds. Sounds impossible to believe, right? Let me ask you something. What would you have chosen? Think about it. Today, solitude is seen as something negative. You go to a restaurant and see someone eating alone. What does most of society think? Poor guy, he has no friends. But what if that person simply enjoys their own company without needing external validation? What if they feel complete without depending on anyone else? If you don't learn to be alone, you will never be your priority. You will always be waiting for other people's approval, for messages, for notifications, for external noise. And the worst part, the more you avoid solitude, the more afraid you'll be of facing it. So here's something you can start doing today. Try a silent day. Dedicate an entire day to yourself free from external distractions. Turn off notifications, leave your headphones at home, and go for a walk without anything to distract you. If you've never done it before, be prepared. It might feel uncomfortable at first, and if you're up for an even bigger challenge, do something alone on purpose. Go to the movies by yourself. Sit at a cafe. Take a short trip without relying on anyone else. Pay attention to how you feel. At first it might seem strange, but you know what? Once you learn to be alone, you'll find it harder to be around people. And if it feels too difficult, it's time to ask yourself some hard questions. Who am I when no one is watching? Am I happy with my own company? Or do I need constant noise to avoid thinking learning to be alone is not a punishment? It's a privilege. Because when you finally enjoy your own company, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop depending on external noise. And for the first time, you become your own center. That's when you start building the life you truly want. So tell me, are you going to keep running from solitude, or will you use it to become stronger, more focused, and more unstoppable than ever? The 9th strategy is to train your mind. If you stop training a muscle, what happens? It weakens, it loses strength, it becomes soft. Now tell me, my friend, what do you think happens if you stop training your mind? Exactly, it fills with automatic thoughts, distractions, and negativity. Instead of working in your favor, it starts working against you. Marcus Aurelius explained it better than anyone. Your mind adapts to what you habitually think. As your thoughts are, so will your life be. And he didn't say this as a mere theory. He applied it even every single day. While other emperors were consumed by anger, vanity, or the fear of losing power, he trained his mind like a warrior trains his sword. Every morning he wrote in his journal, reinforcing the ideas he wanted to govern his mind: patience, self-discipline, clarity. Before making any decision, he asked himself if he was acting out of impulse or reason. And when the immense pressure of ruling an empire threatened to consume him, he returned to the essentials. I can only control my thoughts and actions, nothing else. He didn't wait for his mind to be strong by nature. He trained it every day. And if the most powerful emperor in the world needed to do it, tell me, why do you think you don't? And I'm telling you this because I've experienced it myself. For a long time, others were my priority. If someone asked me for something, I dropped whatever I was doing to help. If I got a message, I answered immediately, no matter if I was in the middle of something important. I always put others ahead of myself. And let me tell you, my friend, it took its toll on me. Now I'm training my mind to focus on myself. And to be honest, it's not easy. I set small challenges for myself. If my sister texts me while I'm focused, I don't reply right away. I wait 10 minutes. I keep doing my thing without interruptions. And don't think I don't feel tempted to check or that I don't feel guilty for not answering. But I remind myself that if I want to achieve my own goals, I must be my priority. And you know what else I'm doing. Before filling my schedule with favors for others, I plan my day first. My goals come first. If something doesn't fit into my plan, it simply doesn't make the cut. I do this because I realize something: if you don't train your mind, you will lose your focus. And since I don't want that to happen to you, I'm going to give you a few tips. First, create a mantra that reminds you that you are your priority. It can be something as simple as, "My time is valuable," or "If I don't take care of myself, no one will." Write it down and repeat it every morning. Make it your new automatic thought. Second, to focus exercises. Read without distractions, without checking your phone every 5 minutes. Write by hand, even if it's just one idea a day. Solve puzzles or brain teasers, anything that forces your mind to concentrate on a single task. And third, start putting distance between yourself and the constant demands of others. If someone asks you for something, wait before responding. If you feel the urge to say yes immediately, breathe. Ask yourself, does this fit into my day, or am I saying yes out of habit? Think about it. If you don't train your mind, society will train it for you. And I guarantee you it won't do it to help you reach your full potential. It will do it to keep you from focusing on yourself. So tell me, are you going to let others dictate the course of your life, or will you make your mind your greatest strength? My friend, there is one thing that truly separates those who try from those who succeed. If you really want to make yourself a priority, don't lose focus on what's coming next. The 10th and final strategy is simple. Just do it. Think about it. Just do it. That slogan you see on t-shirts, ads, and sports shoes isn't just a marketing phrase. It's a profound way of life. Because the truth is, most people don't achieve what they want, not because they lack talent or ability, but simply because they never start. How many times have you told yourself you're going to start working out, that you're going to eat healthier, learn a new language, start your own business, and yet here you are, still waiting for the perfect moment, the day you feel ready, the instant when all the pieces magically fall into place. But here's the uncomfortable truth: that moment will never come. Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin, understands this perfectly. His number one rule for success is to say yes before you're ready. Because if you wait until everything is under control, you'll never do anything. He's openly talked about how he's jumped into projects without having a clue how they would turn out. And that's the key. It's not about being perfect. It's about taking action. The Stoics knew this long before any productivity guru. Epictetus didn't spend hours explaining what he wanted to do. He just did it. That's why he left behind one of the clearest teachings: don't explain your dreams, make them happen. Because talking about what you want to do, planning it, analyzing it, none of that brings you even one step closer to achieving it. Only action does. Let me give you a clear example. Imagine you want to learn to play the guitar. You spend hours watching videos on technique, comparing guitar models, researching which strings are best. But at the end of the day, how many times have you actually touched the guitar? How many times have you placed your fingers on the strings and made a sound? Exactly 0. This is where Newton's law of inertia comes in. And trust me, this makes sense. Newton said that an object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion keeps moving. And this applies to your mind, too. If you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll stay still. But if you take the first step, no matter how clumsy, no matter how imperfect, it'll be easier to keep going. So if you really decide to learn that instrument, what's the right approach if you apply the just do it mindset? First, less theory, more action. Learn just enough to get started, but stop searching for the perfect tutorial. If you want to learn guitar, instead of watching 5 hours of videos on which one is best, buy whichever you can afford and start playing. Can you only dedicate 15 minutes a day? That's more than enough to learn a couple of chords and start practicing. And remember, no one started as an expert. Do it badly, but do it. The greatest musicians played horribly at first. The best writers produced terrible drafts before writing something great. The fastest athletes once tripped over their own feet. So what? Don't wait for perfection. Start, even if you mess up. Because in the end, my friend, the only thing that really matters is whether or not you do what you say you'll do. You can keep waiting, planning, and searching for the perfect moment. Or you can move now and work hard in silence. So tell me, are you going to keep waiting, or are you going to make it happen? Making yourself a priority is not an act of selfishness. It's an act of profound responsibility. Because if you don't take control of your life, someone else will do it for you. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't keep putting yourself on hold. Every day is a new opportunity to focus on yourself, to work in silence, to make discipline and action your greatest investment. It's not about rushing. It's about moving forward, about building yourself with every small decision, with every repeated effort, with every distraction you choose to ignore. Because life doesn't reward those who think about it. It rewards those who do it. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I'm going to focus only on myself." That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are who made it to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss out on what's coming next. I also invite you to check out our playlist, which you'll see on the screen. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.